It's Thursday, October 14th. Coming up live on The View. They're digging deep into hot topics, from whether the two-timing miner chose his wife or his mistress, to how Christine O'Donnell did at last night's debate. And Whoopi was an eyewitness at the UFO sighting that shocked New Yorkers yesterday, and she's telling you exactly what she saw. Plus, Bill O'Reilly's going off on everything, from the nastiest political battles this midterm election, whether the Tea Party will topple President Obama, and why he says Marilyn Monroe is a patriot, but Madonna's a pinhead. Then, we have a situation here. He got the boot off Dancing with the Stars this week, but he's hitting the dance floor one more time for us. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
To The View. You know, yesterday we started to talk about the miners, but today we're happy to report that all of the Chilean miners are now free men. Yes. Now, that sounds great, but some more free than others. Like there was a miner who had his affair exposed while he was underground. He was met at the rescue site by his mistress, but as his wife said yesterday, I'm not going to see that fool.
If you ever want to see if your marriage is on the rocks, go down into the ground for 70 days and see if your wife is there to greet you. Because it sounded like that marriage was over anyway.
I can kind of, at first, yesterday I said I thought she should be there, but I can kind of understand why she wouldn't, because you're standing there. If he doesn't go towards you, I mean, it's so awkward. And you're, like she said, I got kids, I got grandkids.
I would be there to push him right back in.
Children from a previous marriage, you know, so she's got a life of her own.
He came out and he looked around a little bit, you know. which one is going to? What if neither of them come? Wow. But there were also, you know, every one of them had if you watched, had their own story. I mean, one is expecting a baby when the baby was born. Yes. I mean, you know, yes. But the amazing, I mean, the whole thing was amazing. Yeah. But the message of the solidarity of these people with their captain, the fact that they stayed calm, that they didn't go crazy, that they didn't attack each other. I mean, for 70 days.
The powers that be engaged the world in trying to rescue them was a very nice, international kind of nice
So
thing.
here's my dopey question. Could we do 70 days underground?
Not me. I would be so claustrophobic.
You're claustrophobic, that's right.
The thought of an MRI or something, you have to put me out. This one falls asleep in an MRI. I love it.
I do too. Where else am I lying down with nothing to do?
Wow. I could do 70 days.
You could do 70 days?
I'd be
I
so
wouldn't
hysterical.
like the claustrophobia, but yeah, I think I could manage it.
You would be like the last man out who led. I think you would organize. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to be. I think you would be able to take that role.
I would just do all the screaming. Let me out of here! Help me!
What would you do? But I would do what I've done to Joy every now and very rarely. But in the 14 years we've been on, now and then I've gone.
She puts her hand over my mouth. I have a picture of that, which I'll put in the book someday.
I'll be laying there. Me, Lord, take me home, please. Take me home.
What about you? Would you like
I would probably, as long as I had my iPad and my books.
I don't know if it worked.
I could just, you know, because I just hang.
Right. Huh? If your iPad, your Kindle, and your books didn't work.
The books will always work. The books always come up. And, you know, if you're not greedy...
I want to know what you like, Whoopi, if it doesn't work.
I would sleep.
Did I just mention, speaking of books, that your book, Is It Just Me, is on the bestseller list coming out this week. Whoopi never plugs herself. You know, I'm going to be in that mind plugging. When we come up, you have to watch Joy's show. Cherry's in the movie.
Good girl,
Elizabeth is going to be in Good Morning America. Oprah has an Oprah. But you know why I did that. Oprah's on my...
It's on her mind, it's on her mind.
Why?
Because you're going to be on Oprah.
No, Jesse,
I'm going to be on Oprah. Actually, it's the 25th anniversary. I can't even say it without shaking.
Oh, wow.
It's the 25th anniversary of Color Purple.
Wow.
So Oprah's putting everyone together. So I'm actually going to do Oprah.
Okay, so the reason she's on my mind is that on Thursday, December 9th, which is coming up, we've announced it today, so I thought I should announce it to my own pals. I'm going to be on endlessly. I'm going to be on for 2 hours on Thursday, December 9th. The first hour is with Oprah because we call her Oprah the Next Chapter, or Oprah the Exit Interview, because it's looking back at all of the 25 years. We're going to be doing it from her home, from her studio. Oprah, personal and professional, recollecting her whole past. I've done several interviews with Oprah, and this is going to be wonderful to take that whole look. And then from 10 to 11, don't switch the dial, because then we have the 18th year of 10 Most Fascinating People.
So, a lot of anniversaries this year.
I got a lot. I'm doing so many interviews, I can't remember which one's for which one, but it's okay.
When is this? Tell me when this is.
Thank you so much. Thursday. Mark it on your calendar.
I need to know.
Thursday, December 9th. Okay, moving along.
All right. Speaking of interesting stuff, Christine O'Donnell and Chris Coons met last night in a debate over the Delaware Senate seat. And O'Donnell's making headlines this morning for this exchange. Take a look.
What opinions of late that have come from our high court do you most object to?
Oh, gosh. Give me a specific one. I'm sorry.
Actually, I can't because I need you to tell me which ones you object to.
I'm very sorry right off the top of my head. I know that there are a lot, but I'll put it up on my website. I promise you.
Okay, rule number one in a
When someone
debate.
tells me, I'll put it up on my website.
They're not multiple choice debates. You can't, you don't get all the answers in front of you or get to eliminate three and choose the other. I think she put herself in a really difficult spot.
Well, they were rough on her.
because of
She should have turned them all into frogs. That's what I say.
that.
She did put a statement on her website. She's got one up
Somebody
now.
told me. But you know, look, I don't know how many of us could pick a Supreme Court issue.
We're not running for office.
But wait,
Thankfully, we don't need
let
to.
me just finish. The truth is that it's a trick question. It's a gotcha question. Not a trick question, but a gotcha question. The same, yes, it is. The same question that I asked. What's wrong with me today? That was asked of Sarah Palin. However, when you are preparing to have this kind of, questioning, you do your homework.
Don't they have
and
people
you
in your
know
party
that you know that somebody's going to ask you this.
But also,
just
Barbara,
as they're going to ask you what things you read.
Yeah.
You know that there are
But this had a precedent. They already asked her mentor, Sarah Palin, the question. She screwed it up and couldn't answer
So
it.
do
You would
your
have thought
homework.
she would have seen
That's
that
what I'm
answer.
saying.
It's like
But do
any
you
athlete.
have people
watch-
in your party that sit there and say, this is what they made, that prep
course
you?
we do.
Because she can't be
of
expected
I think if you're
to know all
Christine
this.
O'Donnell and you know that you've been under some sort of attack, some be it because of the comments you've made for a while, you need to go in almost on defense and ready for anything.
Yeah,
Just as a team who's the underdog, watches film on the opponent, coming up to see
But
what trick
she's
plays are
playing
going to
the
run.
I'm just
She
like
should know.
you card,
but
and
you-
most people don't know the answer.
No, but
Well,
still,
I'm you.
there isn't a debate in which you don't have your team, your mentors,
Right.
your somebody. Almost do a rehearsal. And not almost, they do a rehearsal.
I don't know if people
would
want to
think that-
elect someone just like them sometimes. You know what I mean? I think this was, remember this came up with our president now, because he, they love the fact, and I think his supporters did love the fact that he came from a strong educational background. They love the fact that he was an attorney and is still now. They like the fact that he wasn't exactly like them in terms of what he may know or not. Yeah, and I think that
Yeah, but
they may
George
not
Bush
like her.
they liked because they felt they could have a beer with him.
They said the same thing about Obama. They said the exact same thing about
It's
Obama.
a little different.
But the interesting thing to me is that if you are a person who is running on the Tea Party sort of platform, there are certain things that you should know. You know you're not comfortable with the Supreme Court's decision of Roe v. Wade.
Sure.
You know the things that you're not comfortable with, and you should know where they came from.
I think
that's
especially
just
when you have a banner of "We want our government back," so
Yeah, but they're asking about
know.
recent decisions.
Right, that was
and
30
that's
years
tougher
ago.
to-
But still,
you have to read the
if you're going to cover your behind,
Right.
you can at least go back and say, well, one of the things that I know it's not the most current, but this is something that's bothered me, and I'll stand on that.
And
Cover your
politicians
behind.
across the board and
Since
political
today,
banner have made
one of the
mistakes
things-
on debates,
I'm
too.
sorry, dear.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
one of the things that we've seen, not just in this race, but in others, I don't know what, the family values don't seem to matter.
Let me bring him up, because this is the perfect end to Carl Palladino, the Tea Party candidate for governor of New York. The anti-abortionist who has called the Gay Pride Parade disgusting is defending himself against reports that he's currently leasing to an abortion clinic, and a picture of his campaign strategist marching in a Gay Pride Parade. Now, Palladino's camp... Wait. Now, Palladino's camp claims he was obliged by an existing lease agreement to keep the abortion clinic on the land he bought.
So he's okay to collect money from...
I don't know. I only know that apparently it's a grandfather kind of thing. Your grandfather didn't. He had to keep them. But I find it.
Did he also collect rent from a gay bar at some point too? I mean, this guy's filled with inconsistencies.
Okay, but I was saying Palladino is running for governor of New York, but we see this throughout the country, and we used to hear so much about family values are important. The institution of marriage is important. Education is important. Previous experience is important. Lying is not. None of these things. I mean, I don't know. Values don't count. Experience doesn't count.
Just winning.
Lying
just
doesn't
winning
matter.
counts. And
just winning.
And pandering to everybody, because now the rabbi who Palladino was speaking with, who helped write the speech, he's mad because he's saying he's pandering.
The initial
speech, right?
About
being anti-gay. He's mad.
What I want from these guys...
Palladino apologized for the remarks.
But you know what? I'm sorry. You know, we all would have been annoyed if they had been remarks about black folks, Jewish folks, gay folks, Italian folks. You know, it's just, there's certain things you just have to sort of get your act together. But what's bothering me more than anything is that with all the politicians, the ones that are sitting now, the ones that have already been elected, where are the damn people in all of this? I mean, everybody's running to get reelected so they can go back and do what? Yeah. Who's going to look out for... I want somebody to look out for the people. I'm sick of this stuff.
To care about that...
That's what they all say. That's the whole Tea Party. But what they don't say, everybody says, look out for the people. Everybody's run. But what they don't say is actually what they'll do.
Yeah. That's
Where are they going to cut
they've created this anti-incumbent fervor, which is like, I'm throwing my husband out because he looked at me cockeyed. You don't even know whether you want to stay married to the guy or not.
What do you mean?
There's an anti-incumbent fervor going on in the country.
It was going on during the Bush administration, and that was patriotic.
But it goes on it goes on in every administration.
Yeah, every administration, there were reasons to throw them out.
Joy, there are many, many reasons right now that Americans are frustrated. Look at the numbers. His approval ratings are incredibly low right now.
The president's approval ratings are in the toilet right now, but not ours. Our approval rating is really high.
That's true.
And that's why we're going to go and come right back with more Hot Topics. Elizabeth, did you want to say something special?
Yes, my mom and dad are here. It's their 37th wedding anniversary, so happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.
By the way, their father is a liberal Democrat, aren't you?
Well, he's an independent.
Well, an independent, but...
He might not tell you.
Yeah,
politically, they're not exactly like this.
We're creative thinkers.
He is a very creative thinker, and wisely keeps his political opinions not like Me Too himself.
But perhaps if we were talking about sports, Sherry, it would be different.
I'm so excited. I took Jeffrey to a New York Knicks game versus the Celtics. The Celtics won. But I just want to say thank you to all those New York men, because Jeffrey I didn't know what was going on. He kept saying, Mommy, what's this, what that? And all these men kept going, this is this, this is that. So New York men, you rock for helping my son at the Knicks game. Thank you.
Speaking of help, you know, about 5 years ago, there was an incident where a gentleman was shot by then Vice President Dick Cheney accidentally
He was hunting.
while Dick Cheney was hunting. It was a hunting gathering, and I have always said, where is the dude? I thought Dick Cheney killed him. because any other time, if someone had been shot by someone of the vice president's stature, there would have been cameras, you know, just waiting, looking through the thing. So you never saw anything. And you know that the press loves bedside interviews. Well, we never saw this little old man. He was nowhere. I just assumed he was dead. Harry Whittington says his injuries were more severe than reported. Okay, 30 gunshot pellets hit him, a mild heart attack, and he had a collapsed lung, and he was in intensive care for weeks, and apparently that's why nobody heard from him. So he is not dead. He is alive and well.
Yeah, but they kept it hidden, and he also said that he'd only met Dick Cheney 3 times. Yeah. These were not close friends. Now,
so we sure that's him?
Well, you know, but the interesting thing is, why is he announcing it now? Why didn't he say something then? Well, he couldn't. He was in intensive care.
And he had to go
I think he heard my show. I think he heard me say the man is dead. Well, I say in my show, you know, where is he? Everybody and their mother knows when something happens. This guy, he disappeared. He's dead.
Well, it's
That's what I tell people. And people say, what? I said,
but Cheney never, and when they asked him...
He never said a word because he knew that man was dead.
But when they asked him, you know, did he apologize? He said he didn't want to discuss that. You know,
he didn't say Cheney apologized. If Cheney had apologized, he would have said, of course, he's such a charming man, came to my house and apologized and begged my forgiveness. But no!
He did say he'd done a lot for him since
that's
then.
Not
well, I'm sure. Well, maybe that's maybe that's why
transpired.
everything was so kept on the down low. Who knows?
Meanwhile,
but did you know that the Queen of
him.
England
has
announced that in an effort to cut costs at Buckingham Palace, she says she's canceling the holiday party. Now, is that what should happen? Should she cancel the holiday party?
Well, she wanted to show solidarity with a country that's really going through it, so she wanted to be unified with them. But sometimes I think when you have a party, it boosts people's egos and keeps them going.
Well, you know, the Queen evidently pays for this herself, and she can afford it. But
not if you keep stealing stuff from the palace.
I still have a feeling she could afford it.
Barbara only
but, you know,
steals
we are seeing this all over different companies, and people are discussing this right now. On the one hand, you want to have a Christmas party because it's so good for morale. On the other hand, everybody, including our company, says, you know, things are tough, and we're not having Christmas parties. So how important... You want a Christmas party here?
We would love to have a Christmas party.
You know, holiday party is important.
Who's going to pay for it?
I think I will pay for it.
Queen Elizabeth will pay for it.
But, you know, holiday parties are important, I think, particularly when companies are having a tough time, because it lifts the morale of the folks who are working, and it says, even though we're going through tough times, we think enough of you to make sure that we can toast you at least with a glass of wine or a punch or whatever.
Okay, guys, so Bill Getty and I are co-executive producers. We will give a View Christmas party.
Thank you,
nice.
Okay?
But can we go? It's a holiday party, right? It's a holiday party because, you know,
all I have to do
Kwanzaa.
is tell Bill Getty.
That's right. Well, we don't have to tell Bill Getty, but we have something to tell Bill O'Reilly, who we're going to be right back with when we come back.
Yeah.
Topics between the ugly mudslinging on the campaign trail to whether the Tea Party will be a game changer in the midterm elections. Politics are so intense right now that it is the perfect time for a visit from the man who has just released his 9th book titled Pinheads and Patriots. We'll talk about that in a bit. Please welcome Bill O'Reilly.
Do you have OCD or, you know, germ phobias? Is that why you do the
No, I just want to get to the chase here. You know, so many questions. I know you have.
Yeah, so, okay.
Look at you. Every time I come on here, she's, how did this happen?
Bill, I have a case of gas. That's all that's bothering me. Yeah, it's not you.
Seems to happen when you're here.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say some right-wing plot or something.
No, just gas.
Just gas. All right. Well, so while we're gassing here, so Republicans, November election, they say that the Republicans are going to come out on top. What do you think?
You know, it's hard to predict this stuff because, stuff goes in and out, and it's tightening up in places like West Virginia and Washington State now. So I don't make predictions, but I will say it is a referendum on President Obama. That is what this vote is about. It's not about the individual candidates. It's about him. And people on the right, conservative people, are angry, so they're more likely to come out than the people on the left.
Are you angry?
Not really, because, the Fox News Channel did not suffer in this recession. We prospered in this recession, and I feel kind of guilty about it because a lot of my friends, working-class people, are not doing well. But we did great. So, I'm not angry about that. I'm always a little teed off about politics because I think they're a bunch of phonies, and I don't think most of them look out for us in either party.
Well, I know your show is always a... Right. Bill O'Reilly's show gets big numbers. I know that, Bill. But now you're up against Spitzer.
Who?
Elliot Spitzer on CNN.
Not everybody's as inside as you are.
Well, Elliot Spitzer is on CNN opposite Bill O'Reilly.
Well, we wish him well. It's a competitive marketplace, and he's there. He gets his shot.
You don't really wish him well, but that's okay.
No, I really don't. I don't care what he does. Okay. I'm not that kind of guy.
You.
No,
it won't, I don't think. But look, I'm not one of these guys, I want to kill him. There's a few people I want to kill, but he's not one of them.
Who do you want to kill? Who do you want to kill? You're looking at me very sexually now.
No, I'm not that kind of guy. There's a couple of people who I'm not going to name their names because that gives them publicity, but who are nasty and hateful, and I don't like those people.
One thing you do on your show every night is you show Obama's dropping approval ratings. Now, do you think this is...
No, I don't do that every night, Sherry. Okay. I only do it when the new poll comes out, which is my job to do it. If it goes up, I'll show that.
In fairness, I've seen that as well.
Do you think it's because of the economy?
Of course.
That his
two things, and that's an excellent question. Two things are driving President Obama's poll numbers down and driving him individually crazy because he didn't expect any of this. The economy is just flat. All right, numbers came out today. Again, they're not good. So that's number one. But number two...
Again, he inherited a lot of it, and he hasn't been there 10 years.
That statute of limitations will run out on that. He spent $1 trillion. Whoa! Yeah. Look, when you spend $1 trillion trying to turn it around, it doesn't work, that's on you, okay? It's not on the pinheads before you. Macroeconomics is not my deal. I'm just explaining why his numbers are down. So the people see $1 trillion of their tax money and nothing to show for it yet. But they also see a widening gulf between the president and them personally. And that's what I write about in Pinheads and Patriots. All right, let me give you an example. The mosque down here on 9/11. That's inappropriate. It's sure they have a right to do it, and the Constitution, but it's inappropriate because a lot of the 9/11 families, who I know, say, "Look, we don't want that. That shouldn't be there."
But what about the discussion?
No. But there's the president. There's the president going, "Well, they have a right to do it." Yes. And then the guy says, and then
this is America.
Hold it. Listen to me because you'll learn. All right. Thank you. He says to the press, yeah, they have a right to do it, and that's true. Yeah. And then the question is, but what about the wisdom of it, Mr. President? And he goes, I'm not going to comment. Whereupon everybody in the country goes, what?
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So you're saying that Americans are not smart enough to recognize that while it is part of our Constitution to say freedom of religion and freedom to worship, and there were 70 families who are Muslim who also died in that building. Yeah. So you're saying that that his saying that they have the right to do it and not saying any more than that is why his approval rating has gone down?
I'm showing that there is a gulf between Americans wanted to know what his opinion was on the issue, and he wouldn't give it.
We're Americans.
That's one thing.
So what about
you agree with him?
No, we're Americans. I'm an American.
Let me break this to you. 70% of Americans don't want that mosque down there. So don't give me the we business.
I want to see that.
You want to bet on that? You want to bet? I'll show you that poll in a minute.
All I'm saying is that Americans don't want.
70% don't want it
But
down
why
there.
is that? But why aren't we
Because
saying?
it's inappropriate.
Why is it inappropriate when 70 families died? What are you
killed
talking
us
about?
on 9/11.
No. Oh my God! That is.
Muslims didn't kill us on 9/11? Is that what you're saying?
Excuse me, extremists
What
did
religion
that.
were they in?
What religion was Mr. McVeigh? Mr. McVeigh was an extremist
I'm
as well, and
telling
he
you,
killed people.
70% of the country.
I don't want to sit here. I don't want to sit here.
I don't.
You're outraged about Muslims killed us on 9/11.
To all of you. You have just seen what should not happen. We should be able to have discussions without washing our hands and screaming and walking off stage. I love my colleagues. It should not have happened. Now, let me just say to you in a calmer voice, it was extremist. You cannot take a whole religion and demean them because
Not
of what
demeaning
some...
anybody.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
When you
No,
say that it was Muslims...
If that's what you think.
That's what we think.
Extremists.
Extremists. You didn't say that.
Bill, can I just... Don't you
But
think...
here's the issue,
You
and this
should
is what has to be
apologize.
understood.
You gotta make a
All right,
distinction,
if
Bill.
anybody felt that I was demeaning all Muslims, I
Yes,
apologize.
That's what you
Can I
just
say, do
what
you
you
think the
said.
problem, though, Bill,
Okay.
is that if we go back in time, early in this administration, the president himself said we weren't allowed to use the word terrorist early on. So then he started
don't
using the
hold it,
word, hang on,
but
hear me
there was
out.
a reason
He
why he
started
did
saying
that.
the word, he started saying radical Islamists, radical Muslims. So then there was then a closer association with what happened and the religion. I think if he would have just let us say terrorists, because there are terrorists
I don't
across all
agree with that.
religions and all faiths, then this wouldn't even be a problem.
You're blaming. No.
But here's, look, we only have a minute left.
No, we have more time coming back.
Who's
I
afraid
think
to say
here comes one of them back.
We're back because
Look.
now you apologize. You apologize.
Look, but that's not the issue. The issue is that it's inappropriate because of the context of what happened on 9/11. And if I was inartful in explaining that, but Muslim fanatics, terrorists, whatever
That's
word,
different.
killed us. There are 100 mosques in New York City. Okay?
Okay.
They can move it away and nobody's going to bother.
Okay, but the issue of the mosques, which is an issue that seems to some degree to have dissipated, and we're talking about Obama in general, may not be the major issue as to why his popularity is
it
down.
has separated the president from the folks.
Okay, now, you have written a book, and we're going to come back and talk about it, called Pinheads and Patriots. And at this point, it's very hard to see which you are. We'll be right back with more of Bill O'Reilly.
I am happy to report that we are all back with Bill O'Reilly,
We
who's
all
here.
friends now again?
We are, Bill.
All right. There you go. Barbara said, very good.
No, don't single me out. The only thing I wanted to say to all of them is I would have been great in that mine with all of you.
Barbara,
Yeah.
you would
Yes.
have led us
That's what
the
Lindsay-
entire time with honor. Pinheads and Patriots shows you and President Obama on the
Right.
cover.
Which is which?
And what is the president? Pinhead or Patriot?
Well, that's why I want you to read the book, because I don't make that pronouncement. And also, you can be a pinhead on Thursday and a patriot on Friday.
Okay, so
the
today
people-
is he a-
But in everybody's life, there is kind of a tilt to one or the other.
Yeah, today you were a pinhead.
No, I don't think so. I will disagree with that. I think I tell it like it is.
But Bill, you
Tell it like it
pinhead
is.
because you I believe you knew what you said when you said Muslims, and then you came back
All
and
right,
you made a
look.
distinction.
Again, we are discussing an issue that is very complicated, and I assume that people understand Muslim terrorists. Now, if
Okay,
I didn't
can
put the
we move
word,
on?
the assumption was that we were attacked by a certain people, and that has to be in the nation's consciousness.
Okay,
Yeah,
can we
sure,
move on?
absolutely.
Speaking about pinheads, you called Mel Gibson and John Edwards pinheads.
Oh, you're giving it away.
I think.
Well, you got to give some of the book
gotta
away.
talk about something
By
in
the
the
way,
book.
it's an
But then-
interesting book to read, and we're trying to, and you know, you have no trouble being a bestseller. We're trying to help you along.
tittle.
And I need all the help I can get.
That's Italy
Absolutely.
people's responses, but you call Mel Gibson, John Edwards pinheads.
Mm-hmm.
But now one thing you do, you call Madonna a pinhead. What do you have against Madonna?
She's not on their level, but Madonna is from Detroit, correct?
What's What's wrong with Detroit?
I just said Madonna is from Detroit. I didn't mention Muslims. I just said she's from Detroit.
Well, some of us have
But when she goes out now, she has this British accent.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a suburb of Detroit in London?
A lot of people
And then
go
she
over
says
there.
all of these kind of dubious things about her own country. Well, you know, I was. Aren't you from Detroit? So I give her a little tweak there.
And Marilyn Monroe is a patriot, if I may
Marilyn
give one
Monroe,
more away.
you know, here's an interesting. I'm very interested in her because she had a terrible childhood, awful childhood, rose to become the most successful woman in the world at the time. Didn't hurt anybody as far as I can see, just herself, but was exploited along the way by all of these people. But brought joy to so many millions all over the world. Still today, Marilyn Monroe is the biggest female icon in the world. Okay? So she is a patriot, in my opinion.
That's how you did. That's your description of a patriot.
My description is.
Did she sleep with one of the presidents of the United States while he was married? What does that mean?
I was not privy to that. Okay.
Well, we were.
My description is that she brought joy to millions of Americans and
joy
other people.
brings joy to millions of Americans.
So that's why I designated her a patriot.
How would you describe us? And a silence descended over the
Do we
audience.
care, Barbara, really?
No,
I think we're interesting. Let's have some fun. Much joy.
I like people who are outspoken, number one.
Okay.
So you're in the patriot camp there. Because you're outspoken, you speak your mind. I think you're all honest, by the way. I think you all speak from the heart. That's two patriots. I think some of you are what they call pseudo-liberals and don't challenge your thoughts. That's a pinheaded move. You should have a belief system, but you should also go outside it and challenge it from time to time, all right? But on balance, you're successful. You entertain people. You entertain people in a good, healthy way.
Yes, I do,
So
damn
on
it.
balance, I think you're patriot.
We were talking earlier about the fact that you don't need to seem to have any values or experience or so forth in order to run for office. We've seen it in some cases. Well, there was a debate last night with Christine O'Donnell. What do you think of her and some of the others who don't have experience and don't seem to have quite the
I think you should have
the
experience
knowledge?
and know what you're doing. I think Miss O'Donnell, I don't know her. She won't come on my program. I think she might be a little in over her head. But look, she's trying to run. She's putting herself out there.
Would you
Can I
say?
ask
It's
you
too early to tell on
Can I
that
ask
one.
you a serious question? Do you really think that by putting George Bush's policies back
Are we
the
back
way
to
they
Bush?
were, just one question, that is going to solve the problem when they failed while he was here?
Look, Bush, in the last term, obviously did not do well. But his new book is coming out. He's going to try to explain what happened. So he obviously didn't do well.
4 years to do well, and
He
Obama
did well,
has
in my
had
opinion,
2.
the first 4 years, and he didn't the second 4 years. I don't want to go back to anybody. I think we need problem solvers. I think we need to get out of this economy because it's hurting a lot of people. And right now, what the current president is doing isn't working.
But you condemn it.
I don't condemn anything.
Okay, you deplore it.
I don't deplore. I
Give me an
report
answer.
it.
Okay,
I
you
report it.
But then what do you think, moving along in Joy's question, what would you suggest be done to help the economy?
Cut taxes. Okay, get out of people's.
Knee-jerk conservatism.
No, it's
by the
not.
way.
I cut your taxes too.
I don't care
I
about
deport you, but I cut your tax.
To where?
Oh, it's a joke.
I'm going to Brooklyn. Well, deport me to Brooklyn. Okay, I love Brooklyn.
Okay, cut taxes.
Okay.
Get the government out of small businesses' face.
Sure.
All right.
And?
I like the regulations. You got to watch the bandits on Wall Street. I want the regulations. Okay. But you've got to stimulate the economy in the private sector.
How about environmental
I
regulations?
wish we had more time for this, but
he'll come back.
But he will come back. And whether you think he's a pinhead or a patriot, you are all going home with this book today. Our thanks to Bill O'Reilly. And when we come back, this situation is doing the foxtrot on stage.
Oh my gosh. Come on, guys.
You are wonderful. The judges said you had no musicality. She carried you through this. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Okay? And you're okay.
Wait a minute.
I try.
All right. I just want to know, where the heck are your shoes?
You know what? Jimmy Kimmel burned them.
Jimmy Kimmel burned your shoes.
Yeah,
so you
they have like a ceremonial burning of the shoes.
You don't have another pair of shoes.
Well, I did, but they really didn't slide good like
Listen, I got to ask you a question. 5 years ago, you were fired from a fitness center. You were trying to get a job as an underwear model. Now, you're making $10 million a year. You got a brand. You got...
It's an estimate.
Did you ever, in your wildest, weren't you afraid that you were never going to be anything, and now look?
I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I had dreams, and I never let those dreams die. And you know, when those bad things were happening to me, unemployment, no money, and no job, I just, in the back of my head, I just always, you know, had positiveness and always had good energy. And instead of letting those dreams die and settling, so to speak, in life, I just went for those dreams.
Well, the one thing I want to, congratulations for that. I am very surprised because I thought that your Jersey Shore fans would carry you through a little bit further, or at least when you did your pets.
I thought so too, and you know, at the same time, I tried my hardest, and I'm not a good dancer, and by any means, but
can you do your pecs?
What's that all about?
Can you make your pecs jump like that?
Of course.
Look at that! Look at that! But can we lift up your shirt and do it?
Oh, please.
No, we didn't want to see it, Barbara.
We don't want to do it. But you know what? Like I said,
I'm not putting this show out for a Peabody Award.
But like I said, I really wanted to show America a different side to me. You know, what they see on Jersey Shore is really like a keyhole to who I really am. And I'm, you know, just a very, you know, intelligent, young businessman who's, you know, playing the part and really trying to work hard to be in this business, stay in this business, improve, and do my best.
Situation. Thank you so much. You should go and Bill O'Reilly, because I've got a feeling you got a lot more to you. Thank you to The Situation and Karina Smirnoff. Dancing with the Stars airs Monday and Tuesday nights on ABC. We will be right back. Mama.
Can you go from a situation to the situation? No.
It's the greatest show ever.
Yes, and another situation. It's the 60th anniversary of Trick or Treat for UNICEF, and members of our audience are getting a Trick or Treat feed bag, which helps support UNICEF's nutrition programs for children.
And that's what you get. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.